Ever thought that the national debt crisis couldn't get any worse? Well, think again, because this is Uncle Don, and he just scored a huge win. See, over the past few weeks, he's been locked in a brutal fight to get a new bill passed into law. This bill. He calls it his Big Beautiful Bill, though regular monkeys don't really think it's big or beautiful. Uncle Don, though, claims that it's the ticket to seeing his Maba dreams realized. And now that the bill has passed both the Jungle Senate and Treehouse of Representatives, Uncle Don has signed his Big Beautiful Bill into law. So, what exactly is this bill? And how will it affect regular monkeys like you and me? Let's peel back the layers and see what's really going on here. Uncle Don's Big Beautiful Bill, or the BBB, is the latest set of laws and policies which will be introduced to the U.S. jungle. I use the word will intentionally, since there's no way to stop the bill now that it's survived the gauntlet of Congress. So like it or not, the bill is going through. Because of that, big changes are coming to the jungle. Think changes like banana tax cuts, budget changes, and a clear signal of Uncle Don's priorities. Loads of websites, news outlets, and influencers are talking about the bill, so it's easy to get lost in the sea of coverage for jungle-changing updates. On this channel, we always talk about following the bananas, and the sponsor of today's video helps monkeys like us do just that. This video is sponsored by our friends at Ground News, a tool which I've used throughout my YouTube journey for my scripting and research needs. Ground News is a website and app that gives monkeys a fun and transparent way to read the news from all corners of the jungle, be it from the left, right, up, down, or center. Ground News presents all the data we need to come to our own conclusions. Just take a look at the coverage of the BBB. Left-leaning outlets are drawing focus to things like the human cost of the bill, and also taking shots at Uncle Don's comments about how the bill helps his rich but unattractive friends save their marriage. Meanwhile, right-leaning outlets seem to fixate on the financial damage of the BBB, emphasizing that it will only worsen the debt crisis. What really surprised me was just how differently each outlet framed the same facts. Some headlines were all about the drama, while others stuck to the numbers. It's honestly amazing to see it all laid out in front of you. Want to get a quick read on how a story's covered? Ground News provides everything you need to know at a glance with coverage details, showing how many sites covered the story, their alignment on the political spectrum, and latest developments. Monkey's a sucker for beautiful data, and Ground News helps visual learners like me with loads of charts and graphics. Just take a look at the bias distribution, which maps the outlets from left to right, helping me understand the potential biases in the source material I use for my research. Their factuality and ownership breakdowns are a godsend whenever I want to see which outlets are sticking to the facts, and identify which big corporations or media groups are behind the stories I read. What I love most about Ground News is that they're offering clarity in an increasingly chaotic media landscape. Especially when outlets cover one story in literally hundreds of different ways, Monkey believes it pays to know where your news comes from. Subscribe using my link, ground.news/monkey, which is in the description below, or use the QR code on screen now to get 40% off your unlimited access Vantage plan today. For just the price of a Starbucks vanilla latte, you too can take control of the info you consume. And now, back to the video. First up, tax cuts. Lots of tax cuts. See, this isn't the first time Uncle Don's been in charge, and back in 2017, he proposed massive banana tax cuts for corporations and practically all monkeys across the US jungle. But here's the problem. Those tax cuts, they're about to expire. The BBB swoops in and makes these tax cuts permanent. Because of these cuts, you get to keep more of your bananas, which would have gone to the tax man. 1,000 bananas for bachelors and bachelorettes, and double that for married monkeys. Not exactly a windfall, but having a little extra bananas in disposable income always helps, especially with the economy being as shaky as it is. But monkeys are divided, with some praising the bill for easing the cost of living crisis for average monkeys, while others argue that this benefits rich monkeys the most. Families also get a big boost with the child tax credit getting a permanent increment. Specifically, 2,200 bananas per child, 300 less than what some Congress monkeys wanted, but still. Can't argue with more bananas. It doesn't end there for regular monkeys, though. The BBB also raises the cap on state and local tax deductions from 10,000 to 40,000 bananas, but only for 5 years, so enjoy it while it lasts. One of Uncle Don's campaign promises was no tax on tips. The BBB delivers, kind of. See, monkeys can now deduct a certain amount of tip wages and overtime from their taxes. But the benefit phases out for those earning more than 150,000 bananas for those single and ready to mingle. And double that for married monkeys. Uncle Don's BBB promises to remove taxes on Social Security bananas. So all you Gen X monkeys watching this video will get to enjoy more bananas from Social Security. The bill temporarily increases the deductions for older monkeys, up to 4,000 bananas for monkeys 65 and over, and 6,000 for those earning less than 75,000 bananas a year. Pretty big wins all around for the average monkey, both young and younger. But there's another group that won big from the BBB, everyone's favorite. Defense and border security agencies are getting massive banana investments. Upwards of 280 billion bananas by 2028, according to Uncle Don's team. This is big news, especially when you consider that the US jungle alone already accounts for 40% of all military spending across the globe. Because of the budget injections, defense contractors like Banana Dynamics and Borthrop Grumman are poised to make huge gains during Uncle Don's tenure. But how are we going to pay for this? See, everything we covered either accounts for a loss in revenue via tax cuts or increased expenses via budget injections. These are negative cash flow proposals. In other words, the US jungle will incur a massive bill when the BBB gets pushed through. Something's gotta give, and the bill comes with a long list of budget cuts to improve cash flow. And first on the chopping block, Medicaid. The BBB eviscerates funding by almost 1 trillion bananas. Hold on to your wheelchairs because it gets worse. New work requirements proposed by the BBB mean that able-bodied, childless monkeys have to work at least 80 hours a month to keep their coverage. This could mean that up to 12 million monkeys could lose their health coverage over the next decade because of this bill, as estimated by the US Jungle's Congressional Office. And if you're a rural monkey relying on a small-time clinic or hospital, good luck. The BBB is going for the jugular with Medicaid, and the writing's on the wall. Healthcare will continue to get starved of bananas, and it's going to keep getting worse. Up next, the BBB also bites off a substantial chunk of bananas from the Supplemental Nutrition Assistance Program, which helps over 40 million low-income monkeys put dinner on the table. States now have to chip in more, along with new work requirements for able-bodied monkeys without dependents. The changes start in 2028, but the message is clear. Fewer free bananas for the ones who arguably need it most. And finally, the BBB takes a blowtorch to erase clean energy tax credits. Previously, clean energy suppliers were able to claim massive tax breaks. To encourage investment in clean energy. The BBB removes these benefits entirely, but will phase them out over a few years, completely removing them by 2028. Oh, and companies with supply chains tied to foreign entities of concern are cut off from the credits even sooner. So if you're thinking of starting a business in clean energy, you'd better hurry if you still want to enjoy tax benefits. And that's basically everything in the bill. Lots of tax cuts, budget cuts, and huge investments in defense and border security. But we're missing something. How does this all add up on the jungle's budget sheet? See, the BBB can be best described as trying to pay off one credit card by maxing out another. By locking in the 2017 tax cuts, ramping up spending on defense and border security. While making only minor savings from slashing healthcare and food programs, the deficit isn't shrinking. It's ballooning. Even Congress estimates the BBB will pile on another 3.3 trillion bananas to the national debt over the next decade. And that's on top of an already massive yearly deficit. Separate video on that here, by the way. But beyond just making the government's deficit worse, what really stings is how many bananas are being pulled from healthcare and welfare programs for the jungle's most vulnerable monkeys, especially in such a shaky economy. So, what can we do about it? Here's the hard truth. At this point, there's not much anyone can do to stop the big, beautiful bill. The train has left the station, and we're all along for the ride regardless if we like it or not. At the very least, enjoy the benefits and make the most of the extra bananas while they last, because sooner or later the bill will come due. So keep your eyes on the Congress monkeys and remember, every banana handed out today is a debt to be repaid eventually. The question is, who will be footing the bill when the time comes? No one really knows, but if this snowball keeps getting larger and larger, It's only a matter of time before it becomes an unstoppable avalanche. If any monkeys are confused, remember that this is just a simple explainer about the BBB and its potential impact on the jungle. It is not a hit piece or endorsement of any parties referenced. Please do not sue Monkey. Thank you so much for watching, and subscribe for more content just like this.